The gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Upton, is recognized for 3 minutes.
3 minutes or 5 minutes?
I'm sorry, 5 minutes. You're worth every second of 5 minutes.
I know I wasn't here to get the additional 3. And I do want to apologize for being late. We had a meeting downtown, and it was very difficult to get back. So I missed your testimony and some of the questions here, but I appreciate your willingness, obviously, to be here this morning. I was at the same meeting as you were, Mr. Shimkus. We tried to get an early bus to leave, and we wouldn't do it. We commandeered it, but it didn't work. They had guns. We were with the president. Ms. Dugan, I think you answered about the UK meeting its Kyoto targets, and I just wonder what percentage of their electricity production comes from natural gas, nuclear, and coal. Do you know?
I believe that nuclear accounts for about 20%. I don't have the figures to hand on coal and gas.
So about the same nuclear as it is here. And do you know if the UK is expanding its nuclear capability to provide electricity?
We published an energy white paper last year looking at the future of energy for the UK, and a bill will be published shortly. I'm not sure exactly when, and that will set out the UK strategy for energy policy going into the future.
Okay. Dr. Izzo, your company currently produces about 45% of its electricity from nuclear, as I understand it, and I'm wondering if you all are planning to increase, do you have any plans to increase your nuclear energy production as a way to reduce CO2?
Yes, we do. In fact, this autumn coming up, we will complete a 120 megawatt uprate at one of our nuclear facilities, and we are actively considering.
And where is that facility?
That's in Salem County, New Jersey, and we are actively considering the submission of a license for a new facility in New Jersey.
And how long did it take, as you looked at this facility in Salem County, how long did it take you from the point that you decided that that's where you wanted to go, how long did it take to get through the regulatory process to actually get to where you are today? How long ago did you start?
The uprating process took about 2 years. A new nuclear plant from decision point to production of a kilowatt hour will probably take 10 years.
Dr. Sander, we appreciated your testimony, and there are a number of us from the Midwest that are not too far from Chicago. So you may get a call from us in the next couple of weeks wondering if a couple of us might come by and actually visit your exchange.
We'd be very pleased. As you know, some of our significant members are in Michigan, Dow Corning, Michigan State University.
I'm a Wolverine, I want you to know.
Okay. We're talking to the University of Michigan. Plus, I have a home on the Lake Michigan. So
which town?
Halfway between St. Joe and South Haven.
So you're in my district. So you're on one of the fire lanes.
Oh, yes.
Which fire lane?
Fire lane 9.
9, okay.
Wilderness Dunes.
I know exactly where it is. Look forward to seeing you. And I think Mr. Shimkus and Mr. Hastert intend to come to try and visit. Mr. McLean, I live in St. Joe, Dr. Sander. I live in just north of the river. Dr. McLean, how, as we talk about monitoring greenhouse gases accurately, we heard earlier in the week about both China and India. China, of course, putting online literally two new coal-fired plants literally every week. India, we heard some very disappointing information from as it relates to the Indian Parliament, I guess you could say, in terms of where they are and what they might likely do. How difficult is it to monitor the emissions in either one of these two countries, and what type of cooperation do you might see coming ahead as we look at some possible legislation moving?
Well, there's several parts to that. First of all, in the U.S., we monitor CO2 from power plants. We have since the 90 amendments put that in. So that's a third of the emissions in the U.S. For the last several years, we have been working with China on several projects, one of which is to introduce and help them implement a cap-and-trade program for SO2 and hopefully NOx, modeled on the U.S. program. Part of that is monitoring, and we've been working specifically with them on the monitoring areas because they recognize that that's going to be critical. So they're starting to put in place pieces that will build a solid regulatory base.
And in my last 5 seconds, and what are we doing with India?
We're also working with India. India is a more difficult country to engage with structurally, but we do have work that we're doing there in different areas, different pollutants. We're working with them on methane and other issues.
And India is getting hydroelectricity, right, from Bhutan?
I'm not familiar with their electrical structure.
Thank you. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Upton. The gentleman from Michigan, Mr.